Hey guys, welcome to the show. Subscribe, rate, and review, tell a friend. I'm coming from you from the Phoenix area. I'm staying at the San Carlos Motel, and it is so haunted here. Um, yeah, this is a very haunted hotel. Just to tell you guys, so I had shows with TJ. Today's Saturday. Last night I had shows with TJ, and I get back to the hotel at I don't know 2 a.m. And the door to enter the lobby, it's closed. So then it said, "Oh, please entrance on the other side." In downtown Phoenix, it's the other side is probably 2 blocks away. So I had to walk to the other side, and the exact same sign was on that, and it said, "Please use the front door." So I was like, "Okay, that's very weird." So then I walked back, and then that sign from the first door was gone. And so that kind of freaked me out. So then I went inside, and and the elevator uh like stopped on every single floor. I'm staying on the fifth floor. And first it stopped on there's a lobby, and then it stopped on floor one, then floor two, and floor three. And usually when it does that, it's like a kid running up the stairs, hitting buttons and stuff. But this was 2 a.m. in the morning, and I don't, if there's a kid doing that, that's just very bad parenting, I guess. So then I get to the fifth floor. I'm like, okay. And then my room is right by a fire, like the fire alarm stuff. So I was like, all right. So I go in my room, and I'm about to just crash out, go to sleep. And then I hear a little girl laughing. I was like, that's just weird. So I open the door. There's no little girl. I was like, okay. So I shut the door. Then I hear the laughing again. I open the door, no little girl. And then this girl is laughing for like, I don't know, an hour. And then the laughing stops. And then the TV turned on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. And then, so I went to bed. I woke up, and I went to the service desk. I was like, listen, I'm not like trying to be paranoid or scary or something, but these things happen. I just wanted to know, like, what's the thing? And the lady at the service desk said that they were working on the electricity. So that explains the TV going on and off, I guess. And then I was like, well, what about the little girl? And she said, maybe I was watching a kid's cartoon with a little girl or something. I was like, it just, so like, I feel like the lady was gaslighting me too. It doesn't really matter because like I'm safe and alive, but very, very strange. Um, I'd like to say I do believe in haunted stuff, but I don't. So I feel like I'm John Cusack from 1408, and I just haven't been murdered yet, which is good. But uh, other than that, it's actually a very nice hotel. It's historic. It's an easy walk to the club and all that jazz. All right, guys. Well, we have a great show for you today. Uh, I hit up uh, David Koechner on the Instagram, and it took him a while to respond, but he responded to me last night, and he said he'd do it. He riffed with me, so it's really really exciting. I only had about 5 or 6 hours to actually prepare for this because last night, I was watching, listening to other stuff, and falling in and out of sleep and stuff. So I really hope I don't ask the same questions he gets asked, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. So subscribe, rate, review. I am a Lone Ranger today. No Alan Lee, no Victor Pacheco. Uh, Alan is still on the show. We did have a talk, and he's just busy with his day job, and he's always welcome back. But it seems like right now he's taking a LOA, leave of absence, and when he comes back, he comes back. Victor Pacheco Uh, I've talked to him, and he's trying to get his life back together. And when he's, I don't like talking about people's problems, but when he's better, uh, he's more than welcome to come back. So he'll be back too. All right, guys. So we will be right back with the great David Koechner. Thanks, guys.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Hi, David Koechner.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Doing good. Thank you so much.
Right on.
I really appreciate that. So how's Phoenix going for you? Because I'm staying in a haunted hotel.
Are you really?
Yeah, the Hotel San Carlos.
Is it really old?
Yeah, it's like historic. It's pretty haunted. Like
Let's write that down. San Carlos?
yeah. Do you like haunted hotels?
No. Do you?
No. I feel like John Cusack in 1408.
So wait a minute. So it's how old is it? Is it over 100 years?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty old. It's so old that the shower doesn't work, and like you have to do like one of those old school put it in a bucket, type things.
Why are you staying there?
It was the cheapest one. Like, so
Wow. So where are you traveling from?
Huntington Beach, California.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
it's about a
so
6 hour drive.
all right. So it's well known that it's haunted?
Oh, I have no idea. I just think the room I got was haunted. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was like a tourist because I could assume there's a tourist destination for haunted places. That's not this.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this particular room.
Have you talked to the staff?
Yeah, I think they're gaslighting me because so I came home at 2 a.m. yesterday, and the TV kept turning on and off, and I didn't have the remote. And I told the staff that, like this morning, they're like, "Oh, well, they were working on the electricity, so that probably explains it." And they were doing it in a way where they don't believe me. You know what I mean? So like I was like, whatever. I
Okay.
don't
Anything else?
just basically that, and then the shower and all that stuff. But yeah, I
Was
mean,
it $20 a night?
it's about 60, yeah. So
Damn. There wasn't a, what do you call it? Motel 6?
well, I'm sure there was, but I don't want to get killed. I need to stay at a place that has one of those, like the key locks where you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I stayed in a haunted hotel in Oklahoma once. This is just a couple years ago. And the staff, you get to know the staff after I was staying there shooting a movie. So I was there for a couple weeks. So after a while, you get to know the staff and you build this trust. And they finally will, because they say we're not supposed to tell you. But yes, this hotel is haunted for two reasons. The place was built at the turn of the century, last century, and the owner was having an affair with one of the maids, and then she
Oh my,
became pregnant. Then apparently she jumped out the window with the baby.
whoa.
So that's one. And then I guess 20 years ago, the hotel fell into disrepair. No one owned it. And there were a lot of homeless people there. And there was an elevator shaft where I guess multiple people fell down the elevator shaft and died.
Yeah.
So it's
Wow.
well haunted, supposedly. Now, I never saw anything, but one of the actresses in the show said she heard furniture being moved above her all night long, checked with the staff, and no one was staying in the room above her.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not into ghosts. I don't dig it. I'm not, but there are, I think there are shadow electrical remnants of past souls that could be locked or lost or just still vibrating past where they left.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I also agree that I also feel spirits, good or bad. I feel spirits stay with you forever.
Well,
Like,
yeah, whether or not we can be in touch with that. Do you have do you have that gift
uh, no, I don't. But I mean,
or
I
a
feel
50?
like, I mean, our buddy Norm, like, Norm was my best friend. I toured with
Uh-huh.
him, and I feel whenever I do stand up, he's always with me. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. So I feel his
Describe how that manifests itself. Like, how do you know?
I just feel that I'm better at comedy because he's in my heart and he's just
Uh-huh.
watching me. And like, after shows, he would give me notes on how to develop a
Really?
joke better. Yeah. I
Wow,
actually
that
wrote it. I actually wrote a joke for you when Norm
okay.
interviewed you on the podcast.
Oh, we've
And
done the podcast before?
no, you did Norm's
Oh
podcast.
God,
You had
that's
like
it.
these little joke things, and I was one of the writers, and I
Okay.
wrote it. I wrote a joke for you, and it was where like the world says that there's 66 serial killers alive right now, but there's actually 67. Don't tell. So,
Okay.
so that was the one I wrote, and you laughed, and I thought that was funny. So
That was the weirdest podcast I'd ever done. Well, I mean,
really?
I didn't know Norm was going to fuck with me. He doesn't tell you.
No,
He
he
doesn't tell
doesn't.
you. Oh, by the way, I'm going to really fuck with you. I'm like, well, that's not enjoyable for me at all.
Yeah.
I love
Well,
Norm, but
yeah.
I was like, what are you doing? It was just strange to me.
Well, I won't fuck with you. I
Well, that's
promise you.
fine.
Yeah.
You can try. It's one of those things when you come to a thing, you think it's at face value, and when it's not, you're just kind of like, oh, well, that was okay, whatever.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
a surprise. Um, I met a woman in another hotel that now some people do see ghosts. This woman lived with her 5 kids, so we had a lot in common. I was talking to her, and she said that she'd seen ghosts since she was a kid, and she was in this. They had an apartment in a former mortuary, and she saw white orbs
Well,
come into the rooms, not only her room but into her kids' room. So they saw it too. And she said her grandmother used to see ghosts, and her grandmother used to live across the street or near the Gettysburg battlefield.
oh my God.
And she said she would see ghosts at night walking through the battlefield. I mean, that gave me chills. That
Yeah.
makes complete sense.
Oh, I kind of want to visit then. Like
I
that'd be
kind
kind of
of
fun.
don't. There's got to be a ghost tourism business, right?
Yeah, definitely. So David, I know you don't have a lot of time, so if I'm going to try not to ask you same questions you always get asked, but I only had 6 hours to prepare, so I apologize if
Sure.
you've heard stuff. But you're in three films that are my favorites, and the first time I watched them, I just thought they were okay, but then they get better and better every time you watch them, and you have three different parts in each of them. Like Dirty Work, you just have a cameo. A Guy thing, you just have like a supporting role, and then Anchorman, where you're one of the stars. So I wanted to ask you, when you do those type of movies in general, do you know that it's going to build like that, like it's going to stay in people's hearts?
No, you never know. You never know. You hope that
Yeah.
everything you do is going to work, but you never know. Like I thought Anchorman was going to be huge from the beginning, but as you know, it was not a hit out the gate, and a lot of people don't realize that. So the year was what, 2004 when it came out. The benchmark at that time was $100 million in the theaters, was a hit. The company Paramount dumped it into August, which was the dog days of summer. Like if they didn't have a film they really believed in, they just kind of shit it out in August, and they did. And it got weird support. Like the tag was, "We go get the news so you don't have to get it yourself." Doesn't mean anything. That's not
Right.
funny. It doesn't have anything that would resonate with anybody. Apparently, I was told that the studio wasn't really behind the film, so it only did 84 million, which that's a lot of money, but it wasn't a hit. So that's why it took so long to get the sequel, because only after time did it become this cultural hit, right? When it was on cable and DVD is when things really picked up, and Will and Adam said they started seeing like 7 years later at Halloween they would see all these pictures of people who are going out as the news team,
Yeah.
and so that's when they knew they had something. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And then I wanted to ask you, like, do you think if social media, I'm sure social media was around, but do you think if it was like popping how it is now, do you think like that would help certain movies like The Anchorman and like also the comebacks, which is hilarious? I think that if that had more of a
I think so.
promotional,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Although it's odd because Snakes on a Plane,
love that.
it came when you could have access to the internet at that point. That's 2006 or 7, and it got tons of hype on the internet. I'm saying the internet because this is before your phone. It was on your computer. You'd get stuff, and there was tons of hype. And I think people didn't understand. No, this is just a lark. This film doesn't take itself seriously. And I think people thought like, oh, this is something that it wasn't.
Right.
To me, Snakes on a Plane is kind of like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, it's ridiculous.
But it's
called
great.
Snakes on a Plane. It's tongue in cheek for sure. But I think people either thought it was going to be a straight ahead horror movie or a straight, who knows what they thought. But I think I know this because several people said to me they felt like they had been fooled
Yeah.
into believing something it wasn't. So that's where things can go wrong. So I think the thing was at that point, a lot of clips from the movie were going what they called then viral, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people now have no perspective of what, or they don't remember what it was media wise to get a film out and to to get people to pay attention. Now it's just this constant scroll. It's a constant feed. And how do you get someone to stop? Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows? Of course, it could have helped or whatever. I mean, how do you get the noise? Comedies are having a hard time now. People's viewing habits are different. I just saw that Pixar, their new movie isn't doing well, but they released their last 3 movies straight to Disney Plus, and they're thinking, well, they don't know what's going on with people. They do you not want to go to the theater, or are you content with just staying at home and watching it? If you get in that groove of staying home and watching it, that's what you're going to do. I love going to the movies.
Me too. Yeah.
I love going to the movie theater. But if people lose that love, then they're not going to go because you're going to spend, $50 when you've already got your subscription at home for free. And you don't have to wait. That's the thing. They've closed the window between theatrical release and, home video, what we used to call home video.
Well, there is something special about, it's just like going to a comic club where you go, you buy a ticket and you just enjoy it. Where like I don't like watching comedy on YouTube and stuff because I enjoy it more live.
I agree. It's a different experience. There's a different chemistry going on. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, I know you've always done improv, but when did you start getting into stand-up? Like, have you always done stand-up or like
No,
how?
when I had my 5th kid.
Okay.
So 12 years ago, when I had my 5th child, I thought to myself, I better always have an earning possibility. And thank God I did. So for the first, 8 years or so, I think I only did like 12, like 1 show a month. I'd go out and tour like one, maybe, I don't know, the most I would do is 15 shows a year out of town. Right.
Yeah.
So to be honest, it was kind of just a hobby, a side venture. Shows were good, but it wasn't, certainly you always get better. I argue you get better every time you get on stage.
100%. Yeah.
So, and oh my God, my first hour that I put together was like 5 different characters, and I had changes on stage. I would change into different costumes in comedy clubs, and like people were just like, "What the fuck am I watching?" And it was just kind of start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. It was really, really interesting. I don't even know if I have any video of those early shows. That was funny.
Do you still try and do that or no?
No.
Oh my God.
I would literally change costumes on stage.
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah. I've never done a special. I've got a solid hour now. I should just do a special and then move on and maybe do that again. Like, I think the next thing I do will be closer to a one-man show as opposed to the show I'm doing now. But it's a very solid show, and I feel like, okay, I've done this show for too long. I need to move on. But at the same time, I haven't filmed it, and it's good enough for a special. I feel like I just got to do that and then, go to the next thing.
What would you name your special?
Good call. Right now it's called the tour is called Dirty Blue Skies and Dirty Lies. So that fits. I don't know exactly. It depends on where it would land. There's a few pieces I want to probably either take out or tinker with. It works right now, which is one of those things like, well, shit, man, this works tip to tail. There's nothing in it that is not working. Everything pops, which is great. And I'm saying that objectively. I'm not saying that from an ego standpoint. Because when you're on stage, that's your job. You're working. You're like, this works or it doesn't. This works or it doesn't. And you can't fool yourself. The audience tells you. Sometimes you leave in stuff that doesn't work, but you like it.
Oh yeah. That's a
couple
comics
lines that I know.
joke. Yeah.
Right. Sometimes there's a couple lines I know that they go, like,
but it's for you only, baby.
I know. And to me, I'm like, I even say to the audience, like, I say, like, they're going, I don't like him, but I can't help it.
Yeah.
And the guy I tour with, Rob Mayer, he and I have been touring together for 6 years. It's just a 2-man show. I'll say, I should take that line. And he goes, yeah, I know. It makes me laugh, though. I go, fuck yeah. If it makes you laugh, it makes me laugh. I'm going to leave it in. I don't know why. It's one of those things. Sometimes you feel like I want to make it work. I want to keep putting this in there until it works. And it's just one line.
Yeah.
But,
well, what it is because like you go on shows to make other people feel better about their lives because they're coming to see you and you're giving them the joy of laughter. But what a lot of people don't understand is the comic also needs that joy. So that when you do that joke for yourself, that's you giving yourself something. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Totally understand that. So I wanted to ask one question about snakes on a plane, actually, because you brought it up, but it was actually in my notes. I wanted to ask, how was that filming? Was it real snakes or was it digital? Because I would be terrified if it was real snakes.
It was both.
Okay.
But they would never put the real snakes near. Those were always shot with a different unit, never near humans. They would never put anybody at risk. But I met the snake trainer, and he was fabulous. And he showed me all the poisonous snakes. They were separate, and so, but never in close contact with humans.
Oh,
so all the other ones were digital. And I'm sure if you go back and look at it, they don't look great, but at the time they were good enough. Like when my kids watch Jaws, they're not afraid of it.
No.
Because they think it looks ridiculous. I saw that movie when I was in 8th grade in a drive-in movie theater with my dad. And I was so scared. We were in his truck. I kept having to tighten my seatbelt because I was just terrified.
It's kind of like The Exorcist. I'm sure at the time it was one of the scariest movies, but now you watch it, it's kind of funny.
It's laughable. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, my friend Ashley wanted me to tell you, thank you for doing The Office. Her father died 2 years ago, and she watches The Office, and she said thank you for doing it.
Well, it's a show that's very special to people, and I know that. And we've added a year ago. We started doing office during the weekends. We started offering office trivia with the real Todd Packers. So it's a trivia show, not a trivia night or afternoon. So I hosted as Todd Packer. We do a lot of audience interaction. The top two teams get to come up on stage and do scenes with the real Todd Packer. There's other audience, interaction throughout the show. So it's a show, and I tell stories about my time on The Office. I tell stories about my life in show business. So it's kind of a storyteller stand-up trivia.
Yeah.
And
cool.
people, it's almost a religious experience for them all to get together and share the idea of The Office,
Do you ever have people who go see your stand-up and then come back to the Sunday show to see this show?
Often. It's a Saturday show, but often, yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
We usually do it as a Saturday matinee, which is a big day.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's a 3-show day. So it can be, you do have to mentally, you have to mentally prepare yourself.
Yeah.
People are always going, hey, did you have a chance to see the city? And like, well, it takes a lot of bandwidth to make sure you're going to put on a good show, and it's at night. So, you're resting during the day for your boxing match that night, right? I mean, that's just for me.
Yeah, you could skip out the haunted hotels. You're
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
prepared.
yeah. It's one of those things like, well, you'd have to kind of carve out an extra day to really enjoy the city you're staying in, or make sure that you are on point, getting all your rest, relaxation. I've got a problem where I'm always trying to get something done. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I'm always working, and then you got the 5 kids, so you're always kind of like that occupies part of your headspace. And then there's the show, and then there's this or that. There's whatever. A
I
lot
get.
going on up here.
And then I wanted to ask because Get Smart I loved, and I was wondering because that movie deserved a sequel because it was just so funny. It had like a lot of people in it, and I was wondering, have you ever heard like maybe there was going to be a sequel, or was that just something where
No,
like,
they did a spinoff with the two guys. Was it Masa Oki and Nate somebody? The two younger guys in it.
yeah, the guys who controlled Jaime, right?
Yes, they did a straight to DVD spinoff. So that was the only thing that they did past that.
Yeah.
And I had a manager at the time, and I said, I told him like, oh, I'm not necessarily interested in that. And then I got a call one day with my call time for the next day. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I said no, but the manager was too weak to tell them he's not doing it, and I don't know why. I never heard from him. Like, what were you thinking?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
looking
that's
back, it's one of those things you look back on. It doesn't matter. You just
yeah,
do everything that comes your way. I've got 5 kids. I'm a character actor. You don't
right.
need you don't need to go, oh, I'll do this movie, then that one, and then, at some point in your career when you're younger, you start trying to be, make
In
decisions.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I would sometimes make decisions like, no, I shouldn't do that. I have to do this or this or this next. Like, well, you don't necessarily, you're not in charge. Job, go do it.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask you, so Always Open was like a YouTube type show that you did, and it's kind of like now there's comedians in cars, which I feel kind of took from Always Open, like the same. So I wanted to see like if there's something that you wanted to try to bring back because I thought that was a great talk show type
Well,
thing.
yeah, I love that. That was a branded thing for Denny's, but it wasn't in your face too much. And it was done so very well. Jerry Collins put that together. Will Arnett and Jason Bateman had a company called Dum Dum where they were doing branded content. And so that's how that came to be. And the fun part of that was we just shot with 5 cameras all at once. And so I would ask these questions that were kind of funny, but really almost philosophical,
Yeah.
and give people this. It kind of opened up a channel for them to just talk about it in a different way. We thought, yeah, that's one of those things I could have done for forever. They were fun, they were short, always had interesting people.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
And then I had a couple of Twitter questions. One, David, how many hats do you own?
Oh, it varies. Hats have a shelf life because you're going to sweat out the band.
Yeah.
So how many have I owned over the course of the past 20 years? Probably 50 hats. How many do I currently have? Probably 7. Yeah. Always looking, but I haven't been doing the Gorin brothers used to have hats, a hat store in LA, but they don't have one. There's one called Barron's, I think. I've got to get there and have them. They make hats. They made the hat for Anchorman. And they sized my head.
Yeah.
So I have a hat plate that they gave me. So I've wanted to come back, and they had this old, I forget what it is, a hat sizer. It was like 100 years old, this hat sizer they used.
Oh, like
really
they
cool.
put it on the model and
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah. So, but no, I think I still have that somewhere tucked away, but I hope it's still open. It's in Burbank.
And then, David, if you could remake one of your films with the same story and the same actors and the same script, but you could change something different, what would it be?
I don't, it doesn't serve to go change it. There's a few scenes in their first Anchorman that did not make the cut, that I wish would have made the cut. But then the plot got changed, so it didn't make any sense to put it in there. There's a great scene, I'm sure it's on YouTube, where we're in a car driving to save Christina Applegate's character, Veronica Corningstone, who'd been kidnapped by a group called the Alarm Clock, and that whole plot got killed. And we're in a car, and I pledge my love to Ron Burgundy in a very long way, and it's hilarious. You can see it on YouTube somewhere. Ron, the champ pledges his love for Ron, I think, or something like that. That's one I just wish that scene had made it into the movie. And in the second Anchorman, we did this huge musical number that made it into the second movie because they did a second longer cut, you know?
Yeah.
I always wish that musical had made the original Anchorman. Have you seen that?
I've not seen the second one only because I thought the first one was so good.
Yeah, it's fine. But I mean, if you just want to look online, there's the Anchorman musical.
Yeah.
This is huge musical number that did not make it into the second movie, but it made it in that longer, more jokes, uncut thing. Because
Okay.
you know, often they did that, they'd release a second movie on DVD. They may even release that one to a couple theaters.
All right, so I got two more questions for you because I want to respect your time.
Yes, sir.
One, this is a Twitter question. Are you a fan of William Hung?
Yes, that's a quote from The Office. You know that you watch The Office?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to say, who is that? Why the hell does everyone keep asking me that?
And two, this is the last question I got for you. Where can folks go follow and support you at?
At David Koechner, Koechner. That should get it. That's Instagram. I'm sure there's a link tree on there that links you to my Facebook page. And I'm not very active on Twitter because it's, you know, I think people have moved on. I think I have a TikTok too, but you know, I have someone take care of that, which it's, you know, look, man, I'm in that precipice where I'm not necessarily that interested in cultivating or maintaining an online presence. I've got so much other shit to do. It's kind of like, but if you devoted time to it, it would make a difference, I guess. But it is what it is, man. I dig performing. I'll always do it. I'll always be out there.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
I should say limited time engagement. That gets butts in seats, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So I'll be out there for a limited time engagement.
David, thank you so much. I mean, I know I understand social media, so thank you so much. I hope I didn't come off as pushy and stuff, and I wanted to respect your time. So thank you so much.
Listen, I'm flattered. You have to be flattered when someone asks you, to participate in something that they're passionate about. That's flattering.
Okay.
For me, really, it's just a matter of time. As you can probably imagine, I get asked quite often.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, I want to respect your time. So thank you so much. I mean, sometimes better than no time. So I appreciate it.
Right on. God bless. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a 3-show day for me today. So I got to get back to it. All right. Much
love,
David.
All right, have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thanks, you too. All right, bye.
All right, guys. So subscribe, rate, review, and that was the show. And tell a friend.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.